Welcome to the Solo Female Travelers podcast. Here, we go beyond destinations and talk about the parts of travel you don't always hear about. We share tips you haven't heard before, real experiences from the road, and the embarrassing moments that make travel unforgettable. We ask the difficult questions and bring you unfiltered stories from bold, curious, and unconventional women.
Hello and welcome to the Solo Female Travelers podcast. So today, before we start, I just wanted to say that if you've ever watched Mar pack and arrive on a trip with a very tiny carry-on, and if you felt personally attacked, as I have, this episode is for you, because somehow you managed to show up Mar with a carry-on and a tote for even multi-week trips, and the rest of us, myself mainly included, look like we're moving abroad.
To be fair, I am attached to very few things. And I travel so much that my bag is always packed, like truly always packed. My home items are travel size and everything is travel ready. And rather than my travel items being smaller version of my home ones are travel size. So when I come to Spain, when you came to Spain with 4 suitcases, I was having an anxiety attack. Just
And
seeing you and thinking how you were going to move everything,
We're going to give context behind that a little later on because there is a defense to that. But yes, maybe it was a little over the top. There is a defense you'll hear shortly and you can make your own opinions, but I did need to be prepared.
And then we had no space for shopping, Meg. This is the important thing.
Yes, I probably should have come with a 5th suitcase that was empty just for the shopping. So this episode, though, is about packing light, which is why I'm the host and you are giving us your tips and not the other way around.
Yeah,
so back
we don't want that.
to your light packing style. What portion of your travels is done carry-on versus with a checked bag?
I only check a bag when I have absolutely no choice. And that means if I'm traveling for a really long time, or mostly if I'm traveling with different climates. Like last year when I was in the Caribbean, and then I was in the Galapagos and in the Amazon and in Antarctica. So I needed like rainy weather clothes, summer clothes, posh clothes, Antarctica clothes. So then I actually needed to pack, even though the trip was 7 weeks long. If it had been all to the summer destination, then I would have probably been okay. But I didn't even for that long of a trip, I didn't have like hundreds of kilos of weight. I think I ended up having something like 17 or 18 kilos.
And considering how infrequently you check a bag, we're also going to hear shortly how it was very, very unlucky that the airline has recently lost your bag. What are actually the chances of that happening, of the airline losing a bag? Because this is one of the main reasons that people tout going carry-on only, right?
Well, to be honest, I don't check a bag because I hate waiting. So for me, it's not even the possibility of a bag being lost. I actually never thought about it until it happened. And I was in denial until it happened. And it was like confirmed 3 days later that truly it had happened. Because the probability of your bag being fully lost, like lost, like unrecoverable, is like 0.1 to 0.2%. So about 1% of the suitcases go missing, and only 20% of those never actually make it to the person. Most of the times they are just misplaced. They didn't make the connection, or they're just simply delayed. So the probability is really low. I've taken more than 1,000 flights, so it was bound to happen. And to be fair, it's only happened to me once. But we're not going to discuss this in this podcast because this is a whole story, because the ordeal of getting that resolved, took months.
And that's obviously like extremely frustrating for anybody to have to deal with, especially for someone like you who does go carry on only, let's say 99% of the time. And then when you do check a bag, you experience that. So even when the EU has protections for these kind of things in place, I understand how frustrating it is. So I'm sure from now on, you will be traveling even more steadfastly in your carry-on only stance. And we'll leave the story of how the airline did lose your bag and what you can do in those instances for another episode. But getting back to starting with the real questions to get into the nitty-gritty, how do you keep your bag under the required airline weight? And what strategies do you use to travel with only a carry-on bag?
Mostly it's the way I pack and the things I bring. So it's like, I know that you're going to ask me many more detailed questions around this, but mostly is that I am not a just in case kind of person. So I don't bring things just in case I will need them. I only pack the things I will need, and most people will pack twice as many things they need. And so that already cuts my way to a half. This is based on my anecdotal experience and observation of other people. So I bring one outfit per day.
I am definitely a just in case person. I stand in front of my wardrobe and go, I know I'm going in summer, but just in case I need this Antarctica style parka.
Yeah, this is like my partner, we're in Vietnam and he brings 3 trousers and 3 jackets for winter. And I'm like, why are you doing that? It's 30 degrees. It's like, well, just in case we need it, but we're going to the summer place and you're bringing 6 pieces that are heavy and you will not need them at all. Just in case. No, I don't do that. I don't bring things that I may need.
I did feel extremely vindicated though on our SFT tour of Morocco 2 years ago now, where it was the first time I had traveled genuinely carry-on only. I was so excited. And because there is a common confusion a lot of the times between Mar and myself. So people confuse Mar with me and me with Mar. I remember one of the comments was, "Oh, so this is how truly how a pro traveler packs." And I just took the compliment. I'm like, yes, I am truly the carry-on packer who is the pro here. I haven't overpacked for half of my life. So I took that compliment on your behalf. But I have always been an overpacker. I remember overpacking since I was 18 years old. So could you tell us when you first decided carry-on was the only way for you?
It was more of an imposition than a decision. I still remember it was more than 20 years ago when I took my first trip as a consultant. I had already been traveling for work for a year, but I was checking in a bag. My colleagues were checking in bags. Like, we were not so concerned about time and speediness and efficiency. And so we were packing a bag and bringing lots of outfits and lots of shoes, even handbags. But the first trip that I took as a management consultant when I had just moved to Dubai, and we arrived at the destination. I still remember it was Kuwait. It was probably 7 a.m, like some ungodly hour. And my manager looked at me when we arrived at the arrivals section, and he said, "Where is your suitcase?" And I said, "Well, I checked it in. I need to wait for it." And that look was enough for me to never, ever check in a bag again. So ever since at that point, I've been traveling carry-on. And as I said, for me, it's not so much the risk of a bag being lost, although now I do think about it. It's more the fact that I hate waiting for it when I arrive. And in Barcelona, it's terrible how long you wait for it. In Singapore, it's really efficient. But in Barcelona, you really sometimes need to wait 30 minutes for your bag. And that 30 minutes, it's just like, it eats at me sitting there thinking, if only I had gone carry on and then I didn't have to wait for it, So it's that keeps me going. But that first look was, self-explanatory.
Feel like that first look that you're describing is the look that you've given me when I've rocked up at destinations sometimes. So do you feel like packing light does change how you experience a destination?
Well, it's mostly because I don't bring just in case things. So I don't think it really changes anything for me. I'm not really a very fashionista kind of person. And there have been very few times when I've been in a place and thought oh, I wish I had packed this, or I didn't pack well. Sometimes if I feel like this, it's because the weather dramatically changed, or I had not looked at the weather properly or not fully understood what it meant, and so I brought the wrong clothes. But normally I don't really feel like it changes the experience. I just have simpler and easier and faster decision making in the morning because I have fewer choices to choose from, and that kind of is liberating. And so I don't think it's too much of an issue. Now, in winter destinations, when you need to bring lots of bulky things, then it may limit the choices that you bring, and maybe you end up wearing the same thing every day. So if the weather is in a certain way and you only have 2 outfits that fit that, so maybe in those cases a bit more restrictive. But as I said, for me, it's liberating and a time saver when I'm there and I'm thinking, okay, I only have these 5 things to wear, so that's it. Decision made.
So you've pretty much just answered my next question. So there is a strong possibility that you saw my questions before this podcast. But does it ever feel, so traveling carry-on only, does it feel limited or freeing?
For me, definitely freeing. Just the thought, what would be so limiting to me would be the thought of dragging a suitcase around. Just this last trip after a month in Vietnam, we did so many activities that were hands-on, which meant I was having items to take home and then some shopping and so on. And I ended up with my carry-on bag, with my handbag, and then a bag full of souvenirs and things. And just the thought of dragging these things around and oh my God, that just kills me.
But I mean, how do you stay fit if you're not constantly weightlifting your suitcase? I don't understand.
But this is the suitcase, not extra things. Plus, if you check in a bag, you're not lifting it anymore.
This is fair. This is true. So if somebody wants to travel carry-on only for the first time, and I did this finally in Morocco, I'm about to do this in Egypt. I'm very excited to make it happen. What's the one mindset shift that they may need to make?
It's this just in case things. Put everything on your bed. Think exactly about the outfits that you're going to need for the activities that you're going to need. If you have a 10-day trip, don't bring 30 outfits. Bring 10 outfits, maybe 12 or 13 just in case. Maybe, 1 or 2 outfits just in case. Maybe in the evenings, you may want to get changed into something more comfortable, but you don't need to bring one evening outfit for the 2 hours that you're going to have dinner every night. You don't need to bring 100 million accessories or 7 shoes. Think about bringing dresses because they occupy less space and they're an outfit in themselves, and just don't bring things just in case. If you're not ready yet, start by looking at the end of a trip, how many things were in your suitcase that you didn't wear. For me, this is a very good measure of whether you did pack well or not. If you have so many things left in your suitcase that you didn't wear, clearly you overpacked. And if you do that 2, 3, 4 times, you will realize what percentage of the clothes that you bring are actually surplus. I will also say that if you bring a large suitcase, you're going to fill it. So if you have a carry-on suitcase, you are going to be limited by the space. So you will by definition bring less.
I have found that my personal overpacking habits, I pack to the space that I have. And I found that that's definitely a mindset thing as well.
Absolutely. Most people will do, right? So if you're already planning to bring a larger suitcase, you will fill it because it will be empty. And so you will just keep putting things. I start with my carry-on suitcase, and only if I fit everything in it and then I realize that, okay, I really need more space, will I expand the carry-on suitcase. And only if that's really full do I go on a bigger one.
So on that, can you tell us exactly what your carry-on roller and what your hand carry is? Because these are the practicalities that I feel like people really want to get into. And I know you've had your suitcase for a very, very long time and swear by it. So I'm very glad that that's not the one that got lost by the airline.
Oh my God. Although I have a backup. So I already have that suitcase again, new, waiting for the current one breaks. But yes, you're right. I have been using Tumi for the last 22 years. So I've only bought 2 suitcases in 22 years. And I take 50 to 100 flights every year. I drag my suitcase up and down the stairs. Like if I'm going down the stairs, I'll grab the suitcase and I will not lift it. I will drag it down the stairs. Tumi is indestructible. The Alpha series Tumi, which is the one that have the black one, if you're on a big airport in a major city on a Monday morning, you are going to see so many people having that suitcase because people who travel for business have Tumis. Why? Because they're indestructible. They're made of this ballistic nylon thing and you cannot cut it. Like the current one I have is the second one and it's 13 years old probably now. And yes, you can see it's wear and tear, but it's not broken. Everything works fine. So I use that carry-on. That one can be expanded. So that's a carry-on size, international. It fits most airlines. And then you can expand it a bit more. And that allows me to add 3-4 kilos extra. And I don't have a larger suitcase because that's the one that was broken in a trip last year. So I don't have a bigger one. So that's the one that I use always. So I'm only thinking that maybe at the end of the year when I'm returning to Antarctica and then I want to spend a few days in Patagonia and I want to maybe be in the Caribbean before that I will need a bigger suitcase. It will still be a medium size. It will never be a bigger one. But I only have that one as my main one. And as I said, I bought on sale last year. I bought the same one again because it was on sale and they're very expensive. And so I have it just in case one day it breaks because now, 13 years old, I know it's going to break at some point, right? It's not eternal, it's just very, very hard to break.
It is definitely the next suitcase I'm buying based on your recommendations and having also seen this thing in person.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, how many suitcases would I have had to buy in this period? Yes, they cost €1,000, but how many suitcases would I have had to buy in 13 years with how much I use it? If I had bought a normal suitcase, I would have had to buy so many of those. And then what? I'm in the middle of a trip and it breaks. And then what? Like I have to, like the handle doesn't pull out or doesn't fold. And then what? I need to like drag it around. The wheels break and I need to lift it myself. Like the risk of a suitcase breaking mid-trip, like just the thought of it, like no, for me it's like no, this is very important for me. I travel all the time, so I need a good suitcase. And then not only my carry-on is that size, I also have a handbag that slides through the carry-on, which I have next to me today. So for those of you who are on YouTube, you will be able to see it. This hand carry suitcase that you will have seen in some of our social media posts. I've also had it for 13 years. It slides, it's like a laptop bag. It slides on top of the handle. So it's the same weight of the suitcase. And it also can handle so much weight in it. Like normally when I put the camera, the drone, the laptop, all of the chargers, the whatever, the this and that, it can easily carry more than 10 kilos. And it's completely fine as well. It's also 13 years old. The handles are perfectly fine. It can carry all this weight. So this is my set. And then I have a very small crossbody bag that's like sort of like a band bag that they're now fashionable. I've been using it for a couple of years. I'm also showing it for those of you who are on YouTube. You will see it here. And I have that across my body. So in here, I have the important stuff, things like my passport, my credit cards, my cash, things that I will have on my body when I am flying if the flight is not more than 2 hours. If it's more than 2 hours, it starts to weigh on my shoulders. So I will remove it and put it on my lap. But since I got robbed on a Turkish Airlines flight last year, like when I was asleep, somebody took the cash out of my suitcase of my handbag that was up. I now have this small crossbody bag on me. And in this bag, I have the important things that I will need, like, my boarding pass, my passport, my lip balm, my hand cream, my foldable hairbrush, like just handy things that I have on me. So this is my 3 pieces, right? And if the airline is like, no, you can only have 2 pieces, this small bag can actually go inside my bigger handbag and then it's all fine.
No, and I think it can also go under your clothes as well as a hidden item.
Yeah, exactly.
And so do you have an airport luggage? Do you have a luggage scale that you weigh at home, or do you weigh your bag at the airport, or how do you tell that like your bag is 10 kilos?
It's kind of weird, but I know. I know that when my tummy, I know when I lift it, I'm like, okay, it's more or less the weight. It's just experience. And I know that when the tummy is full and not expandable, it fits around 10 kilos, 10, 11. If it's expanded, I can fit up to 15 kilos in it, right? If I just have like clothes and normal things. I don't pack a lot of shoes and I don't pack a lot of heavy things. So just clothes, I know that that's how much it can hold. But sometimes that I've needed to weight a piece of luggage, you know that hotel bellmen sometimes do have a scale that you can use. So you can just borrow it. And we did that in Vietnam with my partner because he had a massive suitcase. Or occasionally, if I wasn't sure or I was using a bigger suitcase or something, then I would get on the scale with it and then kind of guess
Which
the
is
weight
my
of it.
trick as well. So you step onto the scale, you see your weight, and then you hold the bag, and then you deduct, or minus your weight
Exactly.
from the bag weight.
It's an approximate measure, but it's kind of okay. Also because I have priority on like style alliance and I have status. Normally your bag doesn't get weighted if that's the situation, so you're less likely to be weighted. If I'm flying low cost, then it really
But that
matters
right
to
there
the
is the
kilo.
confidence of somebody who has been on 50 flights a year carry on of, it's not overweight. I just know how much
Well,
weight
I
is in
lift
it.
it and I'm like, I know more or less how
Yeah.
how heavy it is, you know?
So are you strict about your weight limits or are you flexible depending on the airline?
Depends when I'm flying. If I know that I want to go carry on, I will. That it's a trip that I want to go carry on. When I'm booking the ticket, I pay attention to the weight limit. It's like this morning I was buying my flights to go to French Polynesia, and I'm taking so many different airlines and so many different like short and long haul, and some of them I have status with, some of them not because they're like small regional airlines. So and it depends, right? Like, so I've been checking each and every one of them. I know that I will try to go carry on as much as I can. This is a tropical destination. I just need to wear summer clothes. So I could keep it all under 10 kilos. It will be really hard for me to keep it below 7 because my tummy, this is the only downside of this tummy, is that it weighs 3 kilos. So if the tummy itself is already 3 kilos, I only have 4 kilos left if 7 is the limit. So I have been paying attention to the airlines, and I know that most of them have 10 kilos. The one that has 7 is an airline that I have status with, so I'll have priority boarding. So I'm hoping that I will be able to get away with it. And because I'm checking in online, they would only do this at the boarding gate. And low-cost airlines will make you pay at the boarding gate, but regular full-service airlines, if you are above and they do weigh your bag, then they may just make you check it in and not have to pay for it at the gate. And so I'm just taking a small gamble for the one airline among the, I don't know, 8 flights that I'm taking that has a limit of 7. All the other ones have 10 or 12. And so that may be the thing. And then on the way back, if I have bought things and then I need to extend the suitcase and I know I'll be above, then I'll check in. But I do pay attention, especially if I'm flying the low-cost airlines, like the European low-cost airlines or some of the Asian ones that are really, really strict and will weigh everybody's bag. Like I've been on a Ryanair flight in Edinburgh waiting to board, and I've seen them go through every single person's bag, make everybody put the suitcase inside the measurement. What is good about having the Tumi is that everybody recognizes it. Like airline staff will recognize the bag, the suitcase, and they know it's within the limits. So they don't make you check the size of it. And so it's just whether they see that you are above the size limit or not. Some low-cost airlines will allow you to pay more to have a higher weight. For example, I fly Vueling quite often, and Vueling allows you to pay for 10 kilos. And I know that 10 kilos is enough for me when I go carry on. If you start carrying more than 10 kilos, then I need to expand my suitcase. And so then it's not really carry on. It's very obviously above the limits, because it's expanded. So then it's not the size either. So it's not so much the weight. The size is obviously above. So I know that if I need to keep it within the size, and then I need to pay attention to the airline. But absolutely, I pay attention to the airline. I pay attention to the class of travel. I pay attention to the luggage allowance. I pay attention to the fact of whether I have status or not and whether I'll have priority boarding or not.
And I've definitely had my bag weighed, my carry-on bag weighed by airlines across the world, and have done the whole like pull a packing cube out and sling a packing cube, kind of like attach it to my waist so that I would get that weight
Yep.
down. So you have a separate carry-on, and we've established that you have your personal item. What do you always keep with you absolutely no matter what?
It's this small crossbody bag. So this will be on me all the time. And then this has, I can tell you exactly what it has because I brought it next to me so that we could show it and I could make sure that I was not lying. Since I just came back from a trip, it hasn't been unpacked, so it's exactly the same as before. So I have a small foldable hairbrush that came from like one of the airline amenity packs. I have a sunscreen stick from Sunbalm. I have a lip balm. I have 2 actually because I panic if
I
I
can't
lose
live
them.
without the lip
I
balm.
have
Yep, same.
earplugs, just in case. I have some cash. I have my credit cards. I have a hand cream.
I was going to say you don't need to show the credit cards on the screen.
And some, refreshing towels that I got from an airline that I keep there because just in case it's handy. And then there's always
Fair.
my passport and my boarding pass in it.
Nice. Okay, so the burning question, which everybody wants to know, everybody emails about, walk us through exactly how you pack, because you have a Marie Kondo style of packing, which you've shown photos of in the newsletter before, and people are floored by this system and method. So walk us through how you pack.
So I brought 3 pieces of clothing to show, actually, for those who are watching us.
Fabulous.
But I was inspired by Marie Kondo, so I don't pack exactly like Marie Kondo. You know, like for those of you who don't know, this is a very famous Japanese lady who goes into people's homes and like reorganizes their whole thing, using up space and making everything like really neat and very nice. So I was inspired by her to pack in what I call like bookshelf style. So what I mean is that I fold clothes, and instead of putting them flat one on top of the other, where you then have no idea what's underneath, I put them vertical, like as if it was a bookshelf. So if you're on YouTube, you will see me showing you 3 pieces of luggage. So this will be 3 t-shirts. So people would put them flat on the suitcase. So what I do is I put them vertical. So then when I am opening the suitcase, and I don't unpack normally unless I'm staying in an apartment for a long time, I don't unpack because I see everything in my suitcase. So I open the top of my suitcase and I see all of the clothes like vertically lined. And I split my suitcase into 3 rows. So if you can imagine like a rectangular box put vertically, I have 3 rows. At the bottom row, I put my toiletries, any raincoat, and my shoes. And so the heavy items. And then I have 2 rows. In one row, I put bottoms, and in the other row, I put tops. So everything is folded vertically, and I see exactly what I have. So when I'm packing, I can make sure that the bottoms match the tops. When I am at the destination, I can make sure that I know what I have, and I don't come home with like pieces of clothes that I didn't even know I had, and therefore I forget. So that's kind of like my way of packing. And then there's like the top part of the suitcase that is thinner than the bottom one, where I keep underwear, socks, gym clothes, beach clothes, any accessories. These kind of things will go into that part.
I feel like that could have been the mindset change for Marie Kondo, your answer. If it doesn't spark joy, don't pack it.
That is true.
Okay, so packing cubes. Essential, non-essential, depends. What's your take?
I mean, to me, it goes against my philosophy of packing, right? Because I want to see everything I have. I think that this is the reason why we all go home with so many things that we didn't wear, and why we pack so many just in case things. So in my case, I've never used them. I've never tried to use them. They defeat the purpose of being able to see everything you have. Plus, they take up extra space. I just don't see the point of it.
I will say that I do use them to put my dirty laundry in, so that I can separate my dirty underwear from my clean underwear, and I don't end up accidentally wearing dirty underwear twice while I'm traveling.
Yeah.
That was not in my scripting.
I mean, I put my dirty underwear into the zip. So like the top part of my suitcase has a zip. So it has an extra compartment in a zip. So inside, I put all the dirty underwear and socks so that I don't wear it, and so that it's separate from everything else. I was going to say that this is the only reason I would use a packing cube. But again, I would probably use just a bag, because a packing cube has structure. It occupies a space. And my suitcase is so neatly packed and so like tightly packed that I don't want to waste space with something that is structured and bigger than just a plastic bag, or even just a laundry bag from one of the hotels.
This is why you were giving the tips and advice and I am not.
I would love for people to let us know why they use them and like how they found them useful. I can see how if you pack by outfit, this makes sense. But if the whole point is to pack light, all of your tops should go with all of your bottoms, or most of them. So you don't need to separate per outfit. And because I have this in 3 rows, I already separate. So if I need to bring clothes for like, let's say this trip to the Amazon, Galapagos, and the Caribbean, I had to bring a bigger suitcase, but I separated the suitcase into 4 parts, and each of them was for a different place, so that I only had to touch pieces from one part of the suitcase in each of the 3 places that I was in each of the 4 places I was in, right? So I do the same with my carry-on. I will have like all of my, if I am going somewhere where I need like water sports gear, like sun rushes and like, I don't know, snorkeling gear and lots of bikinis, because I'm going to be many days in the water, and pareos and like a hat and like things like that, I will put all of those things together. And if I'm then needing to bring like rainproof weather for like clothes for like the Amazon, I will put all of these things together so that I can see everything. And then I don't have to bring packing cubes.
And how far in advance do you pack? Because I feel like this is also an easy way to overpack, leaving it to the last minute. I have had a tendency in the past to just go, may the odds be forever in my favor, I'm just going to throw my whole wardrobe in.
And I think that's what you did when you came to Spain. You basically got everything in your suitcase and you put it inside.
I will interrupt this podcast with a short contextual story that when I did go to Spain, so yes, technically I rocked up with 4 suitcases. However, I was traveling with my son. So I had my toddler. I had my 2-year-old son with me. So I had one full suitcase, one full-size checked suitcase for myself. I had one full-size checked suitcase for my 2-year-old son. like nappies, toys, like teddies, all of the stuff you need for a toddler. I then had a a carry-on bag for myself. So for myself, I had one checked bag, one carry-on. And then I had a carry-on for Alex. So two human beings, 2 bags per human being. That's 4 bags. However, when we did land in Barcelona and Mar met us at Barcelona airport, she had rented a car for us to get around, and she had rented a very small, compact, like mini vehicle. And unfortunately, my bags did not fit in the rental car, so we had to upgrade to a larger vehicle. It took us about an hour of realizing that these bags were not going to fit in the car. So that is the
I had
story.
forgotten
Yes, I
about
showed
that.
up. Yeah. Yes, I showed up with 4 bags, but I also showed up with an extra human being. So really, 1 checked bag per person, 1 carry-on per person, and he's a baby, so he needed more than I did. He needed like the bottles and the teddies, and the nappies probably took up 5 kilos, just that. But yes, I am typically an overpacker. I do admit that I overpack, but yes, in that instance, it's a little bit of an over-exaggeration, I feel, to say that Meg rocked up with 4 bags. I did then, before I leave Spain, I did actually need to purchase a 5th suitcase for all of the shopping that I had done. So yes.
And you're not specifying that you also had a backpack and a stroller.
Well, yes, I did. Well, that's also why it didn't fit in the car, because I did also have a stroller. But like, again, like you're traveling with a baby. So like they were child pieces. So yes, like a back. But that's a personal item.
Yeah, a backpack that was massive. But for me, the most stressful situation was that, and for my mother, by the way, because she also saw you, the stressful situation for us was, how are you going to take the bus to go to the airport with the 2 suitcases, the 2 carry-ons, the stroller, and the kit, and the backpack? How were you going to do that?
I'm extremely resourceful. I'm extremely handy. And as I said, I don't need to go to the gym because I'm constantly like picking up and carrying my bags. That is my workout.
I mean, my mother was like, she looked at me and she said, we cannot let her go to the bus alone, right? So she went with you to the airport.
She walked with me. She was very, very sweet. She walked with me and helped carry my bags. It was very sweet.
Oh my God, yes, I had forgotten about the car situation.
So I feel like it's an over-exaggeration to say that Meg rocked up with 4 bags. I did, but I also rocked up with a tiny human being who needed nappies and teddies and toys and all of
emphasis on tiny.
Yes, well, yes, but the tiny human beings need more than us. So anyway, that was my short interruption. I just wanted to clarify that because yes, I fully admit to being an overpacker. However, I feel like that may have led people down with a false sense of my restraint on packing. Let's get back to the main purpose, which is your tips, because you are the pro here. So do you pack outfits or do you pack individual pieces? Because you said earlier that you're not a fashionista, but I beg to differ on that. And I know a lot of guests will beg to differ because you do look very well put together a lot of the time.
This is why I wear exactly the same things on every tour. And so everybody sees me and like, oh, you're so nicely dressed. Yeah, because I have practice. I'm taking the same tour or similar tours to similar destinations. If I'm going to Croatia, I'm going to Spain, I'm going to Greece, I'm going to Tuscany, all of them in the summer, I'm going to wear the same things, right? So I definitely pack items. I don't pack by outfit, but I do make sure that all of my items go with all of my other items. So all my tops with all my bottoms. And I do wear a lot of dresses. And dresses are fantastic, especially for the summer because they're a full outfit. And so they help me like cover like shoulders and like, I like to wear dresses that have a collar so that I protect it from the sun. And like up to the knee. And so I like to pack a lot of those because they're a full outfit in themselves. But I will make sure that all of my bottoms go with all of my tops and that everything matches in kind of like a capsule wardrobe. This also helps me maximize outfits and minimize the number of items that I bring and helps me pack light, for sure.
And how do you choose your outfits for a trip?
I mean, I will look at the weather. This is super important. I look at the weather, not just the temperature, but actually the variation in the temperature in the hours that I will be outside. Like it's fantastic if like I'm in Vietnam and it says that the temperature is 25 to 35 Celsius. Great. But it's never 25 because 25 is at 4 in the morning. And by the time 8 a.m. comes, it's already 30. So really the temperature is 30 to 35. And then what is the humidity? Because 35 degrees with 20% humidity is perfectly fine. 35 degrees with 85% humidity is really hot and you're drenched all the time. I also look at things like the wind because of the kind of clothes I'm going to wear. So like if I'm wearing skirts or dresses that will fly away and, like flash people. And if it's winter, the wind can truly change an outfit the same way that the humidity, sorry, not an outfit, the temperature, the same way as humidity can change the heat. And so I look at the weather very carefully, the chance of rain, the number of days with rain for the month, not just the milliliters, but like how many days, what is the chance of rain. I look at all of this very, very carefully to decide what outfits to pack. And then I am rarely wrong. So I will not just look at it once. I will look at it with, in the 2 weeks leading up to the trip, I will be looking at it every day. Like right now, I'm planning to go to Japan in 10 days. So I am looking at the weather for the last week already. I've been looking at it every day to see what it's trending and how it's changing. So that is not just like a one snapshot, which could show anything, but it's like something that I'm building over a few days.
And do you have any fabrics that you gravitate towards?
Yes, I don't buy things that crease. Also at home, like I don't iron. I don't know how to iron. I can't be bothered to iron. But traveling, like I'm not going to be ironing on vacation or when I'm on a trip, right? So I don't buy clothes that are delicate or that it need ironing. And that's like in general. If I buy something, like if I will occasionally buy something that's made of silk or viscose or like cotton or linen that I know will be creased, I will roll it instead of folding it and I will put it at the top part of my suitcase and I will immediately hang it when I get there. And that will only be the case for things that are very thin, that as soon as I hang them, they'll kind of be okay. Or if it's something that I really need it to be like very neatly ironed and I don't want to iron, I will like hang it in the bathroom when I'm showering because the steam will help iron the thing or like keeping it a bit less crisp. And I don't buy things that are like delicate, like in general, things that are very delicate or that can break. I wear lots of white, but mostly as a top, not so much as a bottom because it gets dirty. I don't wear white when I'm going somewhere rainy because then it will immediately be dirty. So I do think about what I'm going to wear based on what the weather will be like, but also on certain fabrics and types of clothes that are just like too delicate and just not good for travel. I also like to wear things that are like versatile, like something that you can wear in more than one way or that can serve more than one purpose. I like these kind of items. Like for example, my shoes. I am quite famous for all the guests who have traveled with us because I pack almost no shoes. Like I'll pack the pair of shoes that I'm wearing and maybe another pair to go to the gym or if we're doing some activity, and maybe I'll pack a pair of sandals or flip flops. But that's the most, right? I'm not gonna bring more than 3 shoes, including the one I'm wearing. And I have this like pair of golden shoes that I can wear to go hiking, maybe not hiking, but if we're going like walking somewhere, I will wear them. And they're cute to go from a dress to like shorts to like sports. I like clothing and shoes and apparel in general that is versatile and that can help me like use it in many places and pack light.
I have since purchased your golden shoes as well for me, and I know many of our guests have purchased your golden shoes, and they are fantastic, and I do love them.
I have them
Do you
here.
have them there with you?
I have them
There we
here.
go. If
So I
you're
like them because they're
listening
golden.
on YouTube, you can see them. And I went with the rose gold. They're actually, so these are another Soul sneakers, and we'll put the link in the show notes for anybody watching because they are fantastic. I've also hiked in them. They're very, very comfortable. I can highly recommend.
Super comfy. And because they're gold, they can be worn for like a night out with a nice dress.
And I will say too, this is also the creasing and the ironing because I also cannot stand ironing. I feel like millennials as a generation have really removed the cultural need for ironing. But I did learn this the hard way too, because the first trip I took to see you in Barcelona, I spent the whole annual budget that I had for myself for shopping because I don't shop a lot. I rarely buy clothes myself as well because I don't believe in fast fashion. But the money I did spend for that year on clothes, I had no idea on fabrics because I don't really understand the world of fabric and shopping and clothes very well. And everything I bought, unfortunately, creases like crazy that I don't even really want to wear it here at home because I can't be bothered ironing it. So I've also learned that the hard way as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I do buy things that are made of silk and cotton, and I wear a lot of cotton. The t-shirts are almost always cotton. But like a t-shirt that is like a bit tighter, and when I put it on, it's tight, it will stretch. So these things I don't care so much. But if I'm buying like a blouse or something like that, I'll make sure that it's not super delicate or super crease, or that if it is, it's really thin so that I can hang it straight away and then it will kind of be okay when I want to wear it.
So washing. On your trips, do you bring laundry detergent or do you plan on washing while you're on the road? How does that work?
Not really. If a trip is 2 weeks, I definitely don't do any washing. I bring enough clothes and then I may wash underwear, but typically I am able to bring 2 weeks worth of underwear without a problem. And if I have to, I'll hand wash some of my underwear in the sink with some of these like detergent sheets that occupy almost no space. I guess once gifted some of them to me, and a friend gave me some of these travel ones that are just like a small little box of detergent sheets that you can use. And then if I'm staying longer, like last year when I spent a month in Malta, then I had a washing machine in the apartment. If the apartment doesn't have a washing machine, or now when I was in Vietnam and I did laundry, I would go to one of the laundry places, and then they weigh it and they charge you by the kilo. If I am somewhere that's like remote, I will use like the hotel laundry. Like for example, when I'm on safari and there's no other alternative, I will do laundry. So I do wash clothes, especially if I am going somewhere that's like very dirty kind of place. Like for example, if I'm in the Amazon, I know I will get muddy, I will get wet, I will get sweaty. I'll have to put on repellent over the clothes. So like the clothes are gonna have to be washed after the first time. And so then I plan on doing laundry, and then I will just use the hotel one. I don't hand wash bigger items because I don't think you can properly wash them, and then you cannot really properly hang them either. So in those cases, I'll either use the hotel one, or I'll go outside and use like one of these like laundry by the weight.
And I have unfortunately
Services.
lost bras across, like I have unfortunately been doing hand washing and I have lost bras off a hotel balcony because I was trying to hang. I don't think I've even told you this story. I was trying to hang my hand washing on the balcony, and then the wind comes and then I've got bras that have literally dropped
Oh my
onto the
God.
balcony below me. And I've just been so mortified that I've not even bothered to even try and go knocking to get them back. I've just like left the situation alone. But
Oh my God.
But I
Pecs. I'm
do
going to give you pecs for your birthday.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. But you can't even really get pegs across a hotel railing either. So that's just also not. And then we've also been like, I've also had calls to my room before because I do believe in hand washing. And I've had calls to my room before when I've been at a resort to please take my washing off the railing inside because it was ruining the visual aesthetic of the resort for those at the pool below to have my underwear hanging over the railing. But so I do agree too. Like, so for instance, our Australia tour, when we go to Uluru, there are actually free laundries there, and you do come back because on our Australia tour we include the 4-hour hike of the base of Uluru. We all come back covered in red sand because we've been in the desert all day. That hotel has free laundry, which actually that works really well for that trip because it's smack bang in the middle of the trip. So you can get laundry done. Definitely checking the hotel facilities of the place you're going in advance, I think, is a really clever idea.
And in some countries, this is pretty common. Like, for example, in Japan, it is common that hotels, even 5-star hotels, will have laundry service that you can use for like a very small amount. I was recently, when I was last year scouting, I visited one of the hotels that even had like a system in the room where you could check the availability of the washing machines so that you wouldn't have to go there and like just wait, It's quite common in Japan to have this. And in fact, on the hotels we're staying at, I believe 2 of them have free, not free, but like it's a nominal amount that you need to pay. And the detergent is there, so you don't need to bring that with you.
And so jumping back to the re-wearing of outfits, I know I do overpack, but I also really do believe in re-wearing outfits. So I would like to really normalize being an outfit repeater because I'm an outfit repeater. I'm very happy. If any guest similarly sees me at a welcome dinner, you'll probably see me wearing the exact same thing that I've worn at welcome dinners before. So yes, can we please re-normalize re-wearing travel outfits?
I mean, if you look at the photos on our website, you'll see me wearing the same outfits on all of the trips. But even on the same trip, when I'm packing, I plan to wear each outfit twice. Now, if it's really hot and I know that I'm going to be sweating, then I don't, obviously. Like at least the t-shirts, they will be changed. Dresses, I mean, it's rarely that they'll get so dirty, and unless, of course, you're sweating a lot. You can wear a dress twice. Trousers, I plan to wear twice. Obviously, underwear and socks never, right? So when I pack, I do consider that I'll wear each outfit twice. Maybe not so much the top if I'm going somewhere hot, but definitely the bottoms. And I'm not washing wool sweaters after wearing them once. I also, for a lot of the winter destinations, I'll bring merino wool items, and those ones don't need to be washed so often. They are like, they're hypoallergenic, they're hygienic, they don't need to be washed so much, they don't smell, they're like, how do you call those? They're like sweat wicking and like, like all of these things that make it a great fabric for when you're like going somewhere really cold, but also somewhere where it's like, this hot and cold which will make you sweat. Then of course my gym clothes, I plan to only wear them once. And so there are some things that I do bring enough outfits for all of the days. So if I'm going for a week long, I'll bring 3 gym outfits. If I'm going for 2 weeks long, I'll bring maybe 6 gym outfits, right? So I do plan on average twice for each outfit.
Okay. So you've done this now so often that I feel like you should be able to list off your non-negotiables. Could you let us know what they are?
So I already told you what I have in my crossbody bag. So that's kind of like the things that I cannot leave the house without that. To that, I will add things like my sunglasses. And I do pack a second pair of sunglasses in my handbag because without sunglasses, I cannot do anything when it's sunny. Like I would have to go and buy another pair, right? So I always bring two. And then I also bring a second hand phone, like a mobile phone, in case the one I have gets dropped, which happened once in my life. But ever since that, this was many, many years ago. But since then, I always have a second phone in my handbag because I cannot be without a phone and you cannot always buy one. And then, I would be buying some random one, or like if I would be buying the same one that I have now, which is a Samsung, an expensive one, just from a shop somewhere when I can probably get it cheaper with a plan from my telecoms operator. So, I would rather use the older phone that I had before I bought the current one as a second phone. Then other things that I have is definitely sunscreen, like a face one, a hat if I'm going somewhere sunny. Even if it's winter, I'll bring like a hat. But if it's summer, I definitely bring a hat with me. If I plan to be doing outdoor activities, I have a hat with me. And then an adapter, it's always there with me. No matter where I go, I will always bring an adapter because it also has USB ports. So I can charge some of my USB items with it, all the chargers and electronics, a very large battery pack, which I have with me now as
This is
well.
my favorite, a little adapter, which has all of the different USB ports and the little things that
Yeah,
you can snap down.
my battery pack, it's a very large one. Definitely, I don't want to leave the home without that. And then I have a little bag with all of my adapters. And then I have my Bose noise canceling outfit headsets, which is the ones that I'm wearing right now. I don't travel anywhere without them. And then my adapter, which I've had for a very long time, this particular one. And then something that people always laugh a lot when they see me, when they're traveling with me, they're sharing the room, like some of the photographers or some of the guides, is that I travel with an
I do
LED
laugh at
face
you for
mask.
this. I do actually laugh at you for this because I'm amused. I'm amused at how you pack light, but you have this massive LED Iron Man looking face mask, which does actually make your face light red.
Yeah, when I turn it on, I look like I'm some sort of alien, Depeche Mode, the Matrix kind of thing. But it's very light. It's just that it occupies a space, but it's very light. It doesn't weigh a lot. But yes, I pack very, very light, and then I bring this.
So what would you refuse to? So you do bring an LED face mask, but what would you refuse to pack no matter what the trip?
Refuse to bring extra stuff, especially more shoes than I will need. I refuse to bring stuff just in case and things that I will not need, but primarily shoes are something that occupies a lot of space and a lot of weight, and they are the difference between carry on and not carry on. And because I have these golden shoes that are super comfortable, so I can walk on any surface with them. I can also go out at night. I can wear dresses and shorts and long trousers and skirts and all sorts of clothes with it. I don't really need more shoes. So as I said, I'll bring a pair of hiking shoes that I can also use at the gym, and I'll bring these ones that I'm wearing. Normally, I'll wear the hiking shoes because they're heavier in the plane, and so I'll put the other ones inside. And then if I'm going somewhere that's summery, beachy, etc., I'll bring a pair of sandals that can be used to go to the pool or the beach or like in general. So that's the most that I need to bring. If I'm going somewhere that's really winter, I'll bring winter boots and I'll wear those on the plane. And then again, the gym shoes to be doing exercise in the gym, and I won't be wearing my golden shoes. But I can't imagine bringing more than 3 pairs, like including the ones I'm wearing. So yeah, I really refuse to pack so many shoes, like one shoe per outfit. Like I rarely pack high heels, like almost never pack high
I can't
heels.
even
So
walk
unless
in high heels.
yeah.
I think we
Yeah, me
discovered that
neither
from
anymore.
Barcelona. So I showed up
Yeah.
to Barcelona without, although I had packed multiple suitcases, I showed up without suitable shoes. So Mara and I went out for the
Yeah.
evening in Barcelona. I borrowed your high heels, but because I don't wear them normally and I can't walk in them, I ended up walking back barefoot through the streets of Barcelona because I had so many blisters on my feet, to your disgust. And you were like, you can't do that. This is Barcelona. I'm like, I have to. You don't understand. It's either my toes are about to fall off or I risk walking barefoot through the
Oh
streets
my
right now.
God.
So yes, please do travel with shoes that you're actually comfortable with, and don't give in to peer pressure that you need that you need to wear high heels.
Yep.
So anything that you used to pack but you've since stopped.
Yeah, my camera. I used to bring a camera sometimes before, but now I only really bring the camera if I am shooting wildlife. There's only one reason in my mind to bring a camera, and that's if I'm shooting fast moving objects or those that are very far, and that's only when I'm shooting wildlife. So if it's like monkeys or I'm on safari, if I'm in the Amazon or the Galapagos or on safari or in Antarctica or somewhere where there's wildlife is the only reason I would bring a camera and maybe a drone. Otherwise, this is something that I leave at home and that I used to pack before. But now the phone is just so much better and lighter and convenient.
And Mara and I have a continuing debate over which iPhone or Samsung is better. So that can possibly be another episode, but that is a continued debate among us of iPhone or Android for better photos. I have an iPhone, Mara has a Samsung. Mars photos typically turn out better. We'll just leave it at that. What is well, moving on. What is the one thing that people are shocked that you don't carry?
I mean, people are shocked that I carry so few shoes. Like, genuinely, this is the thing that I'm like, you only bring one shoe. And now I'm exercising, so I bring a pair of good shoes. Before I didn't even bring that, so it would literally be just the shoe that I'm wearing. And then you absolutely can pack with 10 kilos, right? If you're not packing any shoes. People are still shocked, and so everybody asks me what shoes I wear and so on. And like you, many guests have bought another sole shoes because they are pretty and they're super comfortable, right?
They're so pretty.
This is what people are shocked about. Yeah.
I bought the ones with glitter on the back. They're very blingy. They're so pretty.
Very nice.
So how do you handle toiletries though? And how do you keep those within the carry-on limits?
So all of my toiletries are like not even travel. They're not even the limit of the 100 milliliters. I have these like Body Shop bottles that I'm showing on screen for those of you on YouTube that are 60 milliliters, and they were a gift for Christmas like 2 Christmas ago, and I just refill them. You don't really need 100 milliliters for a trip. Like even for a month-long trip, you don't need 100 milliliters of like face wash or face tonic or cleanser or even shampoo or conditioner. Like I have enough with 60 milliliters. I don't wash my hair every day. So I have these small bottles, and I, my normal like cosmetics, like my moisturizer, my eye cream, all of these are already within the limits. So I don't decant them or anything. But if your weight is really a problem, then you can decant a very small portion of it. And then when you come back home, continue using that until you end it, because you won't be able to decant it back again. I don't bring a lot of makeup. I don't use a lot of makeup. I don't wear a lot of makeup. So it'll be like a blush, a concealer, a brush, mascara, and like a liner, like a brow liner, and a lipstick, just one. So this occupies very little space. And then I only will bring the amount of cotton buds that I need and like earbuds that I need. Like I only bring the exact amount of things that I need, and I'm pretty good at knowing how much I'm gonna need. But I think most people will fill in like bottles of 100 ml, and you don't really need 100 ml. Even for a month long, as I said, I didn't use 100 ml. So you can definitely do with 50 ml bottles.
And do you have any advice in general for people who are listening today and they do want to try and downsize their luggage, but they don't want to feel unprepared?
I rely a lot on what the hotel provides. Like I don't pack things like shampoo or body wash or like things that I know the hotel will have. I don't pack them. And I bring like travel size versions of like most things. But I go back to what I said earlier. The just in case items are the ones that you need to look out for and to leave behind. So as I said at the beginning, just try for the first few trips, don't go carry on. But like when you come back, look at all the things that you packed that you didn't wear. And then start to see a pattern, like, are you always overpacking the number of shoes and then always end up wearing only one? Did you plan well for the weather? Did you actually try to understand really how the weather resulted in the outfits that you needed, had the implications that the weather, the humidity, the wind, the rain, all of this had on your packing, on the clothes that you brought? Did you bring things that were inappropriate and inadequate for the weather? And then in terms of toiletries and things like that, I feel like most people will bring things that they feel they cannot leave behind. For example, my LED mask. I absolutely can be 1 week away without my LED mask, right? Like nothing will happen. I absolutely can leave behind. I mean, can you imagine that? I don't know. All the wrinkles will come back, Meg, But there are things that I can live without when I travel, Like I can live without makeup. I can live without all shaving things or like the LED mask, or like there's lots of things that we pack that we don't really need and that we can do away with for a week, So if you have a lot of these things, just like leave them behind. Buy items that will go with everything else. Buy a jacket that's like waterproof and warm so that you don't have to bring a raincoat and a jacket every time that you go. And, if the jacket has a hoodie, even better. Then you don't need a hat either. Like I have a lot of items that will serve multi-purpose. So start thinking that way. And trust me, nothing will happen if you wear the same outfit 3 times. Most people will not pay any attention to what you're wearing. Nobody will realize. And if you're in your photos, you look like you're wearing the same. Welcome to my club. Go to the website and see how I'm wearing the same skirts and the same dresses on every photo, because it's not like I have 100 different dresses, And when you're on like professional photograph escorted tours, like somebody's always photographing what you're wearing. And of course, I wear the same outfits. I don't have unlimited outfits, and I wear clothes until they break. So I'm going to wear my dress for like 10 years,
And ultimately, too, the same goes with clothes, toiletries. You can typically find something on arrival when you get to that destination. If you have missed something, you can typically hit a pharmacy or a shop. So do you buy anything on arrival, or do you make sure that you've packed everything you need?
So I don't like wasting time at supermarkets and things like that when I'm going somewhere. Also, I've learned that things like, for example, repellent. If you're going to a place where repellent is necessary, very likely the locals don't use repellent. So you're going to have a hard time finding it. And also it's going to be expensive. Same with sunscreen. If you're going somewhere where sunscreen is really a necessity, very likely the locals don't really wear it so much. And so you're going to pay a big premium for this. So I bring the things that I need. Now, if I'm staying for a long time, then it's different, right? Like when I spent a month in Malta, I definitely bought the toiletries when I got there, right? I wasn't able to rely on what the apartment provided because there was no like shampoo and conditioner and whatever. So I just went to the supermarket and I bought it the first day. But otherwise, I bring with me what I need. I do downsize certain items. Like if I use an electric brush, normally I'll pack like a regular brush when I'm traveling because it just weighs less, and I'll like bring travel size versions of things. But in general, I don't waste too much time when I am there, and I just bring the things that I need in a smaller part.
So any specific brands that you recommend for those necessities?
I really like Sanban. Like as I said, like this one, you cannot even see the brand anymore because it's like,
So
worn
used.
off. But yeah, I mean, like I have it in my back on, but Sanban has this amazing sticks, like a sunscreen stick that I'm showing on screen that basically you can like put it on your face, like rub it all around your face, your neck, your arms when you're on the go. So I always bring that with me. It's always in my handbag. I always have this like, foldable hairbrush because my hair is very fine and it always gets into a mess. So if I'm going somewhere that it's windy, I will quickly take it out and like brush my hair. This is something that an airline gave me in one of these amenity kits. So like these are the sort of like stuff that I bring with me. I used to use Biore, which is a Japanese brand of sunscreen that you could put, but it makes you a bit white. It has this like Asian tendency of like whitening components into it, and I didn't want to look whiter. And also they don't sell it in Spain, so I can't really find it anymore. But I am in general very low maintenance, so I don't wear a lot of things. I don't use a lot of things. So, like I'm very simple. I've been using the same face cream, the same brand forever since I was like in my early 20s. So I'm not a very good person to recommend these things. It's just the sunscreen is really good and it's non-stick because it's a stick. So you just you don't get like oily hands. You don't like get sticky hands, which I really dislike. You just put it on and then you forget about it.
Now, I can hear every single person who's listening right now who's going, but Mar, how do you shop? So, Mar, how do you shop? How do you plan for shopping? Like, where do you put where does the magic space come from for your shopping?
I don't shop. This is the reality. I don't shop
I don't
anymore. I
either,
used to
let's be
shop a
honest.
lot. I mean, my house is full of things, right? So I only buy 2 or 3 things. I like buying alcohol from the places I visit, so that means wine, spirits, things like that. I buy earrings, and that occupies very little space. So all the earrings, the colorful earrings that I wear, I bought them somewhere. And sometimes I buy handbags, but that's more rare.
I actually bought these earrings if you're
Yes.
looking at the screen from Spain.
Yeah. So I
these are-
I do like wearing earrings and things like that because it's a nice memory. It lasts me a long time. They don't occupy space. They are like almost every place will have some sort of earring shop, and they're usually handmade. They're like women made. So I like this. But what happens is that I do participate in a lot of hands-on activities. Like for example, now in Vietnam, I made a water hyacinth pot. I made a bowl from like a pottery class. I made a lantern. Like I got like a tote bag given by one of the hotels. I got so many gifts given, and sometimes I've been given gifts that are big and that have forced me to check in a bag. Like when I was in Egypt, I was gifted this very beautiful Egyptian cotton bathrobe that weighed like 4 kilos. So not only did not fit in my suitcase, I actually had to pay to check the suitcase in to bring it back. So when I get all of these things gifted, I have a foldable tote bag that's also from Tumi that I'm showing on screen right now. It comes in its own little pouch and it folds, and it's a very big bag. So I can use it as my personal item and then check in my suitcase, or I'll expand my suitcase, my carry-on, and then I can add more things, So I will plan this. I know ahead of time if this is a destination where I'm going to buy a lot of things so that I can pay for a check-in piece if that's a requirement. Like let's say it's a low-cost airline and you need to pay for luggage. Or I will plan for it by bringing this kind of tote that can serve as a personal item, and then I will just check in my suitcase. But I don't shop so much. It's more that the hands-on activities I participated and the gifts that people give me.
And that's fair. Well, that brings us to all of the time that we had for today. So thank you for sharing your tips. By the time this podcast episode does come out, I would have traveled to Egypt with the SFT Egypt tour. So everybody listening can start an email right now and say, Meg, how did you go traveling carry-on only? Did you achieve it? And having publicly made that announcement now is going to put pressure on me to make it happen. So thank you for sharing your tips, Mar, and all of the practical advice We will put all of the links in the show notes to everything, all of the products we've talked about, including Mars To Me bag, because that is the bag that I'm purchasing next so that I can actually ninjafy my packing. Ninjafy is now a new word. You heard it here first.
You can modify your packing.
Marify. There you go. We want to marify our packing. That is what we take from today. So please do send us an email to let us know how you go marifying your packing. We'd love to hear your tips as well. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Meg. You had reminded me of the suitcases not fitting in the car, and this has just made my day. And now I will tease you about it for the rest of the week.
You didn't need to bring that back up.
See you, Meg. Thanks for listening to us. Bye-bye.
And it's time for this week's embarrassing travel story. We'll call it How I Learned to Speed Walk. This one is from Anonymous, and here's her story. It was my 19th birthday in Europe, and I was in Prague, partying like it was 2007, because it was. I downed a number of absinthe shots and ended up going back to the apartment of some handsome UK chap, who I don't remember meeting that night. Really, I've since learned that this was probably extremely irresponsible behavior, but on with the story. I woke up next morning in his apartment in the middle of Prague, and this was pre-travel with cell phones, so I didn't have access to Google Maps. So there I was, wandering around the streets of Prague at 6 a.m. in my slutty party dress, hungover, and trying to find my way back to my hostel. I guess it probably looked like I was working on the streets to the locals, so at least twice on my way home, I was approached by local men who were interested in services I was not there to offer. I perfected the world record time for speed walking that morning. Okay, I actually have never experienced something quite like this, but I've definitely had to learn how to speed walk out of various awkward situations before. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. If you have an embarrassing travel story of your own, we'd love to hear it. You can submit yours on our website at www.solofemaletravelers.club.